Rossibytes.
Okay, so for those of you that monitor the AI space, it has just been going absolutely crazy. It's like from one day to the next, another company is coming out with some new advancement that just blows the socks off of anything that we had seen from somebody else. The one that keeps coming back with the biggest bang is OpenAI, and they just recently, I believe it was yesterday, announced the support for ChatGPT plugins. This like literally opens up an entire world of possibilities for ChatGPT to expand its reach beyond what the model it uses has for information. So if we scroll down and look here, we see that ChatGPT has already had some developers and companies, if you will, create some plugins. And these are the plugins that are currently available for ChatGPT Plus members that have access to them. At the moment, there's a wait list to get access to these plugins, but essentially these are the plugins that you could take advantage of. And one of the plugins here, Zapier, which allows you to connect to thousands of applications, really opens the possibilities because you're allowing ChatGPT now to communicate with and reach out to potentially up to thousands of different applications that we use in our daily lives. We scroll down here too, we see that OpenAI has introduced two of their own plugins, a web browser plugin and a code interpreter. The web browser plugin is going to be really key because one of the things that we've always not liked about ChatGPT is that it was only trained on data up to a certain date and it didn't have the ability to connect out to the web. But just like that, overnight, people that have developed Chrome extensions to connect ChatGPT to the web completely out of business now because ChatGPT is going to have its own web browser capability built right into the ChatGPT interface. The code interpreter, completely over my head what this does, but basically I'm going to show a demo in a few minutes here of what it can do, and it's just mind-blowing. So this example here is going to be a video that I'm going to pull up and kind of talk through. But essentially what they're doing is in the context of a ChatGPT conversation, you're able to go to a plugin store and pick plugins to install into your chat conversation. And in this example, they're going to connect into Wolfram Alpha, which they're going to use for computational and calculation capabilities. They're going to connect into OpenTable, which will help you to reserve a table at a restaurant. And they're also going to connect into Instacart to put actual shopping items into your shopping cart so that you can check out an Instacart order and have your food delivered. Completely mind-blowing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. I'm going to talk through the video as it goes along. But as you can see right off the bat at the very top, in the context of our ChatGPT conversation, we have the ability now to select plugins. And then once we select those plugins, it'll lead us to the plugin store. So once we're in the plugin store, we're going to see a list of the different plugins that are now available within ChatGPT. So right off the bat, we're going to install Wolfram Alpha because part of this demo is we're going to be doing some calculations. Next, we're going to scroll down and pick OpenTable because we're going to ask ChatGPT to find us a restaurant for a dinner. And then finally, we're going to install the Instacart plugin so that we can add some ingredients for a recipe to our Instacart shopping list and then ultimately put it into our shopping cart. Next, we're going to ask ChatGPT to find us a vegan restaurant in San Francisco for the weekend. Looking for something on a Saturday, and then we're asking for it to provide a simple recipe for Sunday, just the ingredients, vegan of course. And then please calculate the calories for the recipe using Wolfram Alpha, and then finally, order the ingredients on Instacart. So as you can see, ChatGPT is now using the OpenTable plugin to search for a restaurant. And it comes back and tells us that it found a great vegan restaurant in San Francisco for us to try on Saturday, Green's Restaurant. You can make the reservation for your desired time through the provided link. And then we can see that it says, for Sunday, here's a simple vegan recipe with ingredients. It's for a chickpea salad. And you can see that it's listing all of the ingredients that make up the chickpea salad. And it's also providing us with a picture of the view from the Green's restaurant in San Francisco, so we know what the restaurant is like. So now we've asked Wolfram Alpha to calculate the calories for the chickpea salad recipe, and it comes back and tells us that it's approximately 862 dietary calories. It then goes on to break down the ingredients and their calorie content per ingredient. And then finally, it's using the Instacart plugin and creating a shopping list of the ingredients for the recipe for our chickpea salad. And if we click on that shopping list, it brings us over to our Instacart account, and we can see that we have a shopping list here for the chickpea salad. We then add those products to our cart, and then we can check out and order the ingredients. So the next plugin is one of OpenAI's own plugins, which is the browsing plugin. As I said earlier, many of us know one of the frustrations with using ChatGPT is that it was limited to the information that it knew by what it was trained on up to a certain date, like 2021, for example. With this new plugin, however, we have the ability to allow ChatGPT to go out to the internet and actually query various sources, synthesize the data that it gets from those sources, and then return back an appropriate response to a question that we may ask it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this video full screen, and we're going to talk through this one as well. Okay, so we can see right at the top here, we're using the browsing plugin. It's an alpha mode. And what we're going to do is go ahead and issue ChatGPT a prompt. In this prompt, we're going to be asking, how do this year's Oscar winners compare to recently released movies for box office sales? And we can see that the browsing plugin is now going out and browsing the web, and it's done a search for what our prompt is. It's then clicked on a result that it found. It's reading the content from that result, and then it's searching for the recently released movie box office sales information, clicking on a link for that, found a link on Box Office Mojo, and then it's reading that content, and then it's going to synthesize that data together and then return back a response. And one of the nice things is when it cites a source, you have the ability to hover over it and click on that link to go to the actual source itself to verify the information that ChatGPT is providing. So as you can see, this really opens up the possibilities with regards to getting good information in a concise, synthesized format, the way ChatGPT specializes in doing today. And the last plugin I'm going to cover is the code interpreter. This is another one that OpenAI has created itself and is just part of ChatGPT. And looking at this one, a lot of this stuff just is completely over my head, as I said earlier in the video. But it looks like that they're using Python interpreters in a sandboxed, firewalled execution environment. And it can do amazing things. For example, a brick weighs 30% of a brick plus 5 GPUs. There are 100 bricks and 200 GPUs in a metric ton. How much does a brick weigh? And it comes back and says, let's call the weight of a brick B and the weight of a GPU G. We can set up an equation based on the information given. And you can see that it's using all this calculation capability to come out and basically tell us the weight of a brick is 7.8125 kilograms. Other stuff that this plugin is able to do, though, is, apart from solving mathematical problems, is doing data analysis and visualization, which is something that previously, when you asked to see any data visualization type stuff within ChatGPT, all it would typically render back would be like ASCII or tabular format within the UI itself. This is now giving us the ability to actually visualize data and see actual graphs within the context of ChatGPT. So we're going to take a look at the video that they have for this and talk through this one as well. Okay, so right off the bat, we can see the model here is the code interpreter, also alpha. And the first thing we're going to do is issue a prompt asking for ChatGPT to plot a function. I'm not a mathematician. I have no idea what any of this means. But you can see right away ChatGPT is getting to work calculating. And within a few seconds, it's actually going to turn back an actual graph of this and then explain it. So right there, that visualization is something that ChatGPT has not been able to do to date. So this is right away opening up amazing possibilities for visualizing your data. Let's take a look at a couple more examples. So next, we're going to ask ChatGPT to zoom into a range of x values between 0 and 1. And we'll see that the graph comes back, zooming into a range of x values between 0 and 1. Next, we're going to ask it to plot a tangent line to the graph at x equals 0.3. ChatGPT is calculating. And then we see ChatGPT comes back and plots that tangent line as we asked for it to. Next, we're going to ask it to zoom into the point of tangency. We can see that ChatGPT is calculating again. And within a couple seconds, it returns back the visualization of that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate showing the ability to upload a CSV with data in it to ChatGPT. And it comes up and says, great, you've uploaded a file named music.csv. How can I help you with this file? So we're going to ask ChatGPT a question about the data that's in this file. What are the columns of this data set? And as you can see, it very quickly comes back and lists the columns of data. So that right there is kind of like what we've expected with ChatGPT to date, is just kind of a text listing of column names. So next we're going to ask, how many rows does this CSV have? And it's going to come back and tell us that the music CSV file has 10,000 rows. Then we're going to say, hey, ChatGPT, can you run some basic visualizations on this data? It's going to get to work really quick. And it's going to come back and say, here's some basic visualizations based on the music CSV dataset. And it's kind of scrolled up past this one here, but you can see that this one is top 10 most frequent artist names, and it lists the artist names. It's got it plotted out on a graph. So the first one was a histogram of song durations. This shows the distribution of song durations in seconds. Then a scatter plot of song hotness versus artist familiarity, and then a bar chart of the top 10 most frequent artist names. Let me see if I can back this up to catch the other ones before they go by. There you go, histogram of song durations, and then a scatter plot. It's amazing. So now we're going to issue a prompt where we're going to ask it to do some additional analysis on the data itself. So we're going to say, let's exclude year 0 and let's consider only years with over 100 songs. From that set of years, let's find a quantity that is the most positively correlated with time. It's going to get to work processing that request. It's going to come back and say the quantity that is most positively correlated with time in the filtered data set is song.loudness with a correlation coefficient of approximately 0.202. Can you plot that? Why, of course I can. Here's a scatter plot of song loudness versus year. Make an aggregated plot. Man, I forgot my math. I don't even know what they're talking about here. But as you can see, mean song loudness by year. So next what we're going to do is take a look at how ChatGPT can do actual functions on images as well. So we're going to upload an image. And it says, great, it looks like you've uploaded a file. Let's take a look at it. And then it's basically going to spit back to us the image that we uploaded, and it's going to identify what it thinks that that picture is. This is a neo-modernist Python icon in the form of a digital painting. It features a stylized depiction of the Python logo with bold lines and geometric shapes. The color palette is modern and sophisticated with shades of blue, green, and yellow. It's a creative interpretation of the Python logo and a unique piece of art. So then we say, can you make it 4 times smaller than it is? And it starts working, and very quickly it spits back a version of it that's 4 times smaller. So then we ask, can you turn it to grayscale? And very quickly it spits back a version of it that is grayscale. Now, as a visual image video editing type of a guy, this right here is amazing that we're able to actually issue image editing commands in a chat conversation and have the actual chat bot process those commands on an actual image and then provide us with a result that we can use. Next, we're going to say, please tint it a little light green. And you'll see that it's now taken that grayscale version and it's turned it into a light green color. Now we're saying, now use OpenCV to select the foreground only. So my guess is what we're trying to do here is actually remove the background and only keep the foreground. So we can see ChatGPT is working. And we can see by looking, if you look at it real close, I'll zoom in, but up at the top here, this was where we had just turned it to a tint of green, a light green, and you can see like a glow around the edges, and then the black background. Now in this image, you can see that there's still a black background, but the glow is gone, and it's actually just, it's essentially traced the edge of the image out here, and that would be all you would get is the actual image and not the background. And then, can you make a download link for me? And boom, there's a link that you can download the image from. Absolutely amazing. Great job, OpenAI. Kudos to you guys for innovating and helping create tools that are useful for everyday things that we want to be able to do with technology like this. I hope you like this content. If you do, please like and subscribe to this channel, and I will continue creating content like this. Thank you, and have a great day.
Rossibytes.